Hi guys, I'm here with a book review today, and it's the Highgate Vampire by Asa Bailey. So, I've still got my bookmark. I'm using a paperclip as my bookmark. This book I picked up from the Works here in the UK, and the Works is a shop that very often sells cheap books and has books on offer, and this one I picked up on like a twofer offer. I can't remember how much it was, but literally books in the Works are sort of $1.99-ish, so it wasn't very much at all. And I remember picking it up because there wasn't really any other books that I wanted. I think it was just as cheap to buy two as it was to buy the one book. And I picked it up and thought, what the heck, you know. And yeah, I will read you the blurb and then I'll tell you what it was that made me pick it up. So, Kathy is an innocent, an outsider who longs to belong somewhere, anywhere. When Kathy starts having vivid dreams of her lost sister Amber, she finds herself called from her New York home to London, Amber's last known whereabouts. Convinced that Amber's disappearance is entwined with the legend of the Highgate vampire, Kathy begins a deadly search to uncover the truth about her family's past, little realising that she is being drawn into the final resting place of London's most ancient and powerful vampire. Inspired by actual events that took place in and around London's Highgate Cemetery, The Vampire of Highgate is a bone-chilling tale of dark secrets and deadly intentions. Any clues then what got me? It was the bit about inspired by actual events that prompted me to buy this book. And I didn't go into this book with any expectations at all. And I am so glad that I didn't, because I loved this book. I read it in like 3 days. I was gripped. I mean, it did help that the weather was nice, so we sat out in the garden and I just read my book. But I was gripped, and I've since found myself going online and doing some research about Highgate Cemetery and the legends and, you know, tales resulting from that. So that was really good, because I liked the idea of a book that took me off on a little journey of discovery and finding out more information. So for that, I really, you know, like, yes, that was a good one. So yeah, this book was a real find. It's a YA, I think. I mean, it's published by Hodder Children's, even though it was in like the adult section. I think it's a YA. It was a really easy read. It wasn't complex. It was just... and that's not a bad thing when I'm saying it wasn't complex, because for me the plot was good and really interesting, and this wasn't your average vampire book. It wasn't, you know, girl finds vampire boy is sexy, girl wants to become vampire, you know. Or it wasn't any of that, and there wasn't any romance, there wasn't any slushiness, and there wasn't any, ooh yes, I want to be a vampire kind of stuff, which is fine. You know, I do enjoy that in some books, but there are so many vampire books around that sometimes that becomes a little tedious, and when one reads vampire books like that, one can't help but think about Twilight all the time, which I know you shouldn't compare other books to, you know, but sometimes you can't help it. So this one had none of that, which was really good. So basically, and again, alert, there may be some spoilers, so if you don't like spoilers, you've been warned. So Kathy lives in America with her foster parents, and her mum went to America to seek refuge when she, I believe she might have been pregnant with Kathy, and Kathy was born in America, and Kathy's real mum got found out and was deported back to the UK with her sister, and her mother was murdered and her father disappeared. And then Kathy starts having these dreams when she's about 17-ish. I'm not really sure. Late teens, she starts having these dreams about her sister. And she decides that she wants to kind of try and reconnect with her family, and so she goes to London and she stays with her aunt, and her aunt overlooks the cemetery in Highgate. And Kathy starts digging around, and oh yes, one of the other things that why Kathy was drawn to coming back to London is Amber sent her a really old book in a language that no one can read. It turns out that this is basically like a vampire mythology and legend and predictions, and like basically like a manual of all the rules and guidelines that vampires live by, and it's really ancient. So Kathy starts doing some digging around, and so she starts to find out quite a lot about herself and the family that she comes from, and a bit more about who she is and what's happened to her parents. And I don't know whether to give you too many things. I will never know how much to give away, really, in case you want to read it and you don't want to ruin it. But that's probably quite enough for you to kind of get interested, I suppose. But it was unexpected to me, the ending. It was unexpected. I kind of sort of started to realise who Kathy was and what she was about. I kind of got that, and because Kathy is quite special, and but the ending I was quite surprised at, really surprised at, in a good way. Kathy certainly gets some answers, shall we say, and she certainly finds out about her family and her family's past and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, really very interesting. And of course it's in Britain, whereas a lot of vampire stuff is American. This was set in London, and I just thoroughly gonna say it one more time, thoroughly enjoyed it. Something really different, and I really enjoyed kind of finding out a bit more about the legend and stuff. And there's a bit in the front, excuse me, it's written by the author, and he says, "One winter night I was taking a black cab to my home in North London. I was sitting back watching the wet streets. It was late, it was raining, I remember being very cold. The cab driver asked me what I did. I'm a writer, I write fiction," I replied. "Have you heard the legend of the Highgate vampire?" And it goes on to say, "He told me that in the early 1980s, he and his father travelled the world as a master stonemason." And it just goes on to sort of tell you about how he kind of delved into the world of the Highgate vampire. And now I've delved into it because it's quite interesting, all the legends and stuff. So yeah, if you fancy reading a vampire story that's just a little bit different, then I would recommend giving this one a go. So thanks for watching, and if you've read this book, let me know what you think of it, because I would love to know. Take care, bye.